Got it.
Yeah. Here we go. I think we're rolling. Yep, we are rolling. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Moviemood. I'm your host, Alex Van Horn.
I'm John Alberto.
And we are talking today A24.
Yeah, a pretty great production company over the last 10 to 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Been making a lot of good stuff.
They do. They are, I think, definitely one of the best or better indie film companies, indie quote unquote film companies that is around. They make, generally some pretty amazing stuff. I'm looking at the list, and a lot of some of my favorite stuff over the past 10 years or so are probably A24.
Absolutely, and it's really kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. It's sci-fi, horror, best picture winners, well, some great comedies, a little bit of everything. So I like when A24 comes on the screen, you're in for something special.
Definitely. And I would just like to shout out my shirt I'm wearing today. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, scroll.
But I'm a true
nice.
diehard A24 fan, as you can see.
I love it.
Yep. Thought I would wear it in honor of the show.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. So what when you think about an A24 movie, what's the pinnacle? Like what's the one that you think of? The first one that comes to mind.
So the first one that comes to mind for me is Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse, actually.
Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah. That's a great one.
It's awesome. It's, two of my favorite actors just alone going crazy together. Yeah. What about you?
I actually thought about Moonlight. I think Moonlight. I feel like that was the big one where I felt like I noticed A24. Like they had made some like a lot of indie movies and a lot of kind of like thought-provoking movies, and Spring Breakers was a big one. But I think about Moonlight usually. But obviously there's so many movies. I think about Moonlight as like your typical A24 movie. Like it's kind of an art film. It's an Oscar film. It's like a it's kind of like artsy, but it's low budget, and is generally pretty amazing. It's not gonna be your normal run of the mill type movie. There's gonna be some different things going on in it.
Right. Yeah, and Moonlight definitely comes to mind for me. I think when it won Best Picture back in 2017.
Yeah.
I think it surprised a lot of people. And I do think it's the movie that kind of put A24 on the map, if you will.
Yeah.
Like I think that the movies beforehand are really good and really unique, but I think Moonlight is the one that kind of put it into the mainstream, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially like in these days, movie studios are a little shaky, right? Like, we have these big conglomerates that used to make stuff back in the day are kind of going away, and it's more of Netflix and Amazon. But somehow, like A24 seems like they're still putting out like really good stuff despite like big, the big giants, like Amazon and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing. I a lot of a movie's budget comes down to marketing, and I don't think a lot of A24 movies are particularly marketed, which is why a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with them. Plus, the production budget of the movies themselves isn't incredibly high. So they're putting out 3-4 really good movies a year. It's just a lot of people aren't hearing about them.
That's true. And they're not, they're not the big blockbuster movies usually.
Mhm.
They're not, they don't do any superhero movies. They don't do any, like, a lot of their stuff doesn't really fit into, I mean, they're art house movies, some of them, but not all of them fit into a box. So I think it is a little hard to market it. Like, for example, The Tragedy of Macbeth, which was, it was marketed, but it wasn't like huge.
Mhm.
But it still took like maybe 2 weeks after it first came out for it to come to Virginia, to like to come to Fredericksburg or Richmond or anything like
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it's
and
not
I
gonna
think
come to the mall anytime like right away. Gotta wait for it.
right, exactly. And even in the kind of pandemic environment with the new variant and everything like that, a lot of people aren't comfortable seeing movies, but a lot of their movies aren't on mainstream streaming services either. Like
Yeah.
they used to be on Netflix. They used to, like, you can pay for them on Amazon,
Yeah.
but I actually have access to a streaming service through my library called Canopy,
Oh yeah.
where
Good one. Yeah.
which is where I've been watching all of my A24 movies. But that's not really a mainstream streaming service, if you will.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only a few, I guess, that come to mind. The ones that are like produced in conjunction with
Mhm.
A24, like uh Macbeth, or thinking about the TV show Moonbase or Euphoria. They're like A24 movies, but they're also HBO or Showtime.
Right. Exactly. Like Macbeth is like distributed with Apple TV,
Hmm.
you know, and Val was made with Amazon. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's talk about some of our favorites. We mentioned Lighthouse. We mentioned Moonlight.
Hmm.
What's another big favorite of yours?
A big favorite of mine. Let me look down the list. Midsummer.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, both of those guys, Ari Aster and Robert Eggers. I feel like, yeah, their stuff is so good. And there's a podcast of them chatting, and they seem
Really?
like very similar dudes. So it's cool to hear them, and they kind of try to talk a lot about Ingmar Bergman, which is like a
Mhm.
big influence for them, and it's pretty interesting. It's worth listening to. But there's some heavy uh, Bergman references in Midsummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a character named Ingmar, and they're in Sweden. So
Yeah. Exactly. So it's yeah, and I think Hereditary was also made by A24, if
yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Ari Aster's other popular horror movie.
What was your first reaction to Midsummer?
Midsummer was it took me a while. The first time I saw it was in theaters. I was deeply, deeply disturbed by it. I was kind of, the beginning scene is pretty haunting, and then
Yeah.
and then you've got a very eerie vibe throughout it.
Hmm.
um and then a pretty again, very haunting conclusion. So
Definitely.
know, it, it took me a while. Like it disturbed me at first, and then over time I just like saw images of it in, like, you know just out in the world and stuff, and I started liking it more and more and more.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I feel like that's one of the best. You're saying how disturbing it was. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm probably like, I was also very disturbed too, but I also I guess was I guess looked past it a little bit to kind of figure out what was going on. But I do remember like specifically being very like shook by the scene in the middle of the film, and then just kind of hearing like different reactions from people in the audience. Is one of the best movies to see with an audience, because you could hear like so many different reactions. Like it wasn't just like one uniform. It was like there's some people that are laughing, there's some people that were dead silent, and there's some people that are talking and just having like reactions to it.
Right.
And like I remember the beginning, I don't know if I've talked about this, but right at the beginning where it's like zooming in on the snow, there's this girl in the front who was like, "Oh, I'm scared." and it was just very, very entertaining to like watch it with an audience that was like half of them were into it, half of them were like, "What am I doing here? This is a nightmare."
Mhm.
Pretty scary movie. Also pretty. I thought a very funny movie. There's some very funny parts as well, for as much shock there is on it.
Yeah, yeah. Will Poulter shows up in there.
Yeah,
Just
who is that? Is it the like the redheaded dude?
eyebrows.
Yeah, yeah, eyebrows. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. That's yeah. I forgot he's in that. That's
and
right.
he's such a fish out of water.
Yeah,
He's
yeah. I remember him particularly being like the dumb,
yeah, just
uh, making like obvious stupid choices in a horror film.
making the
But we never
entire
did.
crew look bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's such a wild movie, and I love Hereditary. Also,
Mhm.
very lots of Ingmar Bergman references, and also just like both are just very like smart horror movies, and also the same goes for the Lighthouse and The Witch.
Yeah, I wish I had had the opportunity to see Hereditary in theaters, like I
Yeah,
saw Midsummer and The Lighthouse in theaters, because to your point about just the audience experience,
yeah.
I, I probably would have appreciated that with Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
Had a completely different perspective on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Did you like it as much as Midsummer or more?
No, I like Midsummer a lot more, but I think it's probably because my first experience with Midsummer was the theater experience and people around me having different reactions.
Yeah, I haven't watched both again. I've only seen both of them once, and I really like them, and I haven't really gone back and watched them. But I've rewatched Lighthouse and The Witch several times,
Mhm.
and I think it's the for me. I feel like Ari Aster is very like he's very good at modern day horror, and is very good with yeah, just with like families and like trauma and all this stuff. He's really good with, and Robert Eggers is like horror, but in like 200 years ago or
Right,
in
right.
the past. Yeah, like
Mhm.
really good with dialogue and detail, and yeah,
Yeah, and it's just like the whole atmosphere with Robert Eggers movies, like having like filming The Lighthouse in black and white, for example.
Mhm.
And and I think it was framed a little bit differently too. I'm not the technical expert on that.
Yeah.
So
You know what? I was gonna mention that, but there seems to be a trend, and it might be because of the Lighthouse started it. But there's a trend of movies going back to the square, like the square frame versus the
yeah,
16 by 9. Yeah. And I kind of like it. And I almost feel like it's like the movies are like they're trying to like not make it normal. They're trying to make it weird. But also at the same time, it almost feels like Instagram is coming into movies.
interesting. Yeah, it's like you get more from for all of you watching visually from this perspective instead of that perspective. So
Yeah.
so like you see someone like when you see someone like I don't know standing over somebody in that frame, it looks like they're towering over that person, which
Hmm.
is which is
Yeah.
really eerie in
Versus
the
like,
Lighthouse.
yeah, yeah, it definitely works for like claustrophobic
Yeah.
movies. I mean, there's a whole like half of films are like in that frame just because of that's how they were back in the day. But obviously, if you have like 16 by 9, it's like a widescreen, Lawrence of Arabia, wide open spaces,
Mhm.
smaller and closer. It's like claustrophobic and scary.
Yeah, I think it's cool that that's something that you're seeing a little bit more of in movies again, I guess, because it's a whole nother aspect of movie making that I think probably is overlooked by a lot of people because, if you're trying to tell one story, one aspect ratio could be completely appropriate, while for another story, another aspect ratio would be uh,
Yeah, for sure. It's all
like,
about the aesthetic.
Yes.
It also feels like I feel like not as many people are going to the cinemas, and it almost feels like another way for them to be like, oh, well, the movies have the square box, and that's going to be a different thing than a TV show that's all in 16 by 9 anyway. So
Right.
yeah.
Although most of our TVs are designed for, and even a phone screen or a computer screen are designed for that 16 by 9.
Yeah,
Yep.
my phone is 16 by 9.
Yep.
It's ready to watch a movie anytime I want.
Nice.
But you can't watch a movie on your phone. It's not. It's
I can watch a TV show on my phone, like at the gym or something like that. I can't watch it on my phone.
Yeah. For that, you need the big screen.
Yeah.
Need the bigger experience. Go big or go home.
Full show.
But yeah, those are some big ones. Are there any other horror movies that come to mind from A24?
Let's see. I watched one recently called Saint Maud, which I think may have been a directorial debut that came out like 2 years ago. And it's again another very small scale story about this nurse that's taking care of a homebound person, but she's got this like very religious obsession, and it's kind of an interesting story about obsession and religion and the way we perceive the world based on our worldviews. So that's cool. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that one yet, but it's on my list.
Okay,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
I actually recently saw, because they do put out a lot of horror movies, a lot of good horror movies.
They do. They really do.
I don't think Titan is on there, but that was a really crazy French movie I saw. Or Raw. Raw might be on A24, maybe. But one I know is on A24 is a horror movie I saw called Lamb. And it's a Swedish. Oh man, is this? It's either Swedish or Icelandic.
Icelandic.
It's Icelandic. Yeah. It's an Icelandic horror movie about goat farmers, and it's kind of interesting. I feel like a lot of movies nowadays, because of the fear of global warming and stuff, a lot of stuff is about like nature, and I think it has a lot to do with that. It's like man and nature sort of thing. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It flipped me out.
Cool. Yeah. So
also very Ingmar Bergman-y, just
right.
Like white people stuck in a farm being claustrophobic and scary. So in Iceland.
Yeah.
Very similar.
What else is up? Oh, a lot of the Safdie brothers movies are A24.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
a lot of good stuff. I'm like just looking at this list right now. So much good stuff.
Yeah. The Safdie brothers are huge. I have probably 3 big movies that I really love. They're from A24. And Swiss Army Man.
Yes, I saw that one with you. Yeah.
That was a wild one. We went to go see that.
I think we were the only people in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah. What else is like, what is that?
The movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Definitely good. Like, I feel like their films have kind of taken over from what the Weinstein Company or Miramax used to be in the 90s.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of taken over. And they're it used to be like it was going on to like Fox Searchlight for a while on Focus Features. But I feel like A24 is kind of the premiere of that indie type of film.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I remember, back in like 2008, kind of the late 2000s, it was Fox Searchlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, probably, I think Moonlight is probably the movie that kind of put it on the map, but there are a lot of movies that came out before Moonlight that were produced by A24 that are very, very worth the watch.
Spring Breakers.
What?
Spring Breakers.
I didn't see Spring Breakers.
What?
I know.
Oh my god.
I,
You gotta watch that today.
I might. We'll see. So let's see. What have we got here?
So I guess we could talk a little bit about the Safdies. I think I mean they're kind of in that same I feel like arena as the Ari Asters and Barry Jenkins and all that, where they're really good indie filmmakers that are kind of in their beginning stages.
Yeah. I think what I really love about them is kind of just the sense of urgency in their movies. Like the pace is nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very anxiety inducing. Yeah, it is kind of like being in New York for a day.
If you want like a relaxing time at the movies, don't go see Uncut Gems or Good Time, but
this is my fucking cab. Get out of my cab. It's my impression of Uncut Gems. Which do you like better, Uncut Gems or Good Time?
So I like both for different reasons. I like Good Time because Robert Pattinson is one of my favorite actors. He is fantastic, and his New York accent is awesome. I like Uncut Gems because I like sports.
Yeah.
And I haven't bet on sports yet, but I would like to bet on sports. And I like to
Kevin Garnett.
What's up?
Put some money on KG.
Yeah. Put some money on KG. And I like to think I would be more successful at it than Adam Sandler was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not so successful. Yeah, I like both those movies. I love the soundtrack by One Tricks Point Never, which is like I feel like initially why I went to go see Good Time, and I remember seeing that in theaters and just loving it a lot. And I feel like those two movies in particular, not so much in their other movies, are very like Michael Mannish because they're kind of about gangsters, but they have this like synthy soundtrack. But I feel like they are a little more maybe realistic or more neo-realist.
They're more kind of like down to earth. Like it's more just about like these people and their day to day versus a Michael Mann movie that is pretty epic in scope. But I absolutely get what you're saying about kind of the pacing of the movies and everything like that.
Yeah, there's not so much the epic shootouts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
More like intense encounters with people, like Robert Pattinson beating the shit out of you and leaving you in a theme park.
Yep.
There were a few other big ones. There's two big ones that come to mind for me that I thought were pretty underrated. One I've talked about a lot, which is First Reformed.
Yeah,
I love a lot. And the other also with the word first in it is First Cow that came out in 2020.
Okay.
I was a big fan of First Cow.
What? So I know about First Reform because you do talk about it. You love it.
So good.
What is First Cow about?
So First Cow it's kind of it's sort of a Western, but it takes place in Oregon. And it's just it's kind of the opposite of the Safdie movie. It's kind of a slow burn. But it's very, I don't know, very like poignant and chill, and has a good soundtrack from William Tyler, who's a good guitar player, good musician. And yeah, I guess you could kind of compare it to like a kind of a slow western that takes place in Oregon, and it's about. I mean, it takes place before most of the westerns take place, um, and it's kind of about like the first cow that they brought to America that they're going to use to make milk and make all this other kind of produce, and it's kind of an interesting, um, I guess, metaphor for consumerism or something like that. I don't know, but
Okay. Okay.
it's a good chill western movie that was super underrated because it came out in April 2020.
Right. So if you had to put it in a genre, would you say it's most like a western then?
Western, yeah, for sure.
All right. All right. So kind of segueing to another movie, which I know you've mentioned many times that you like.
Yeah,
Um, I'll be the first to admit when a movie is too smart for me and kind of goes over my head. So I'm hoping you can help me out with this one.
sure.
And it's Under the Skin.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, yeah. So what were your thoughts on it?
So
I haven't seen it in a while.
I mean it was really pretty. Um, it was definitely a bit of a slow burn, but I did not understand what the message of it was.
Mm,
Um, I was a bit of a loss, and I read up on it, and after I read up on it, I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. But
mm.
I usually I'm pretty good at being able to understand what the movie's about when I'm watching the movie and not have to look it up. So I
Yeah,
liked that I liked that it challenged me.
yeah. I thought it was very like stylish and cool. As far as
I think I lost you.
again, yeah, I felt like it was very, it was like a big deal when it came out, and I guess I thought our internet's going in and out, but I guess I felt like it was kind of about like Scarlett Johansson. She's like seducing these men and killing them. She's an alien. I felt like it was kind of about like because she is an alien, she wasn't like any kind of gender. She was just a person. So it
Mm,
was kind of like about like what we see versus like who people are inside. Um, and she wasn't really like she wasn't a she wasn't what people were seeing, I guess. So I guess it was just kind of like about that. But I haven't seen it in a while, so
okay.
but the I do remember being a little thrown off by the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't have enough shooting and guns for me. Just kidding.
I know you
And
are.
you liked Val also, right?
I loved Val.
Yeah, that's a great documentary.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool that you know he just kind of like was taking all of this footage during his life,
Yeah.
and they were able to put it into a very, very good documentary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. I felt like stuff I didn't know about him. Like I didn't know his brother died. I didn't know that he was such a. I mean, I knew he was a character actor basically, but I didn't know he was so intense about it and had a reputation for that. Um, but I mean, as like a fan of the movies he's in, Heat, The Doors, Top Gun, it was great. It was awesome to see
Mhm.
all the scenes. And yeah, since he's had his um, throat cancer, his career hasn't really like gone off. But it seems like he's doing good, making good documentaries, and yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah.
Um,
And there's a really crazy music video for One of Tricks Point Never that he's in that he was in a few years ago. So he still does do stuff, which is interesting.
yeah. I would have loved to have seen the one man Mark Twain show that he was uh,
Yeah.
he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of that like Hal Holbrook show. that he did where he was Mark Twain.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Locke?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay.
Is it good?
I liked it. It's my style of movie.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just one person driving the car on the phone for an hour and a half. And,
Nice.
Yeah.
I would watch that. I'm a big Tom Hardy fan.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's a great actor. He's actually a very calming presence throughout the movie, which is surprising.
Yeah, usually I feel like he's very like stocky and manic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that blew my mind when you told me that Tom Hardy would make a good Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, Tom Hardy. Yeah, I stand by that.
You would.
When I was bored one day at work, I listed who I thought should play every president of the United States, and Tom Hardy would make a fantastic Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah. Who would be, well, I guess Daniel Day-Lewis would be Abraham Lincoln.
Or yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is great Lincoln.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is Thomas Jefferson. That's one I stand by.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It. Absolutely.
Yeah, because he'd be like kind of a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about throw up somebody off the top of my head? James Buchanan.
James Buchanan was someone weird. I think it was like Charles Dance or something like that.
Who's that?
He was in Game of Thrones. He played the Lannister dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
What about FDR?
I don't remember what I said for FDR.
We'll have to find that list.
Yeah, we'll have to find that list. I remember I said John Hamm for George Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Just gotta give him a wig.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the horror film Green Room?
No, I did not.
It's a good one.
Okay. Is it
starred there's one actor, it was like his last role, and he died in like an unfortunate accident. But he was like in the Star Trek movies, Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, Anton Yelchin, yeah.
Yeah, and Patrick Stewart. And it's like a punk horror movie where these rockers have to fight neo-Nazis. And it's good. It's a good movie.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, I think that director's from Virginia. And he did what's that one movie? Blue Ruin? Yeah, you gotta check out Green Room.
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly will. Yeah, he's from Alexandria.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of Blue Ruin is shot in like Virginia Beach and Charlottesville.
Mm-hmm.
His first movie he made. That's a good one too.
I love Virginia Beach.
Yeah, Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach is the Barcelona of the United States. It's comparable.
Yes. Absolutely.
Some other bangers from
don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
No, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Who's from Virginia Beach? That's famous. Isn't it blanking?
I don't know.
Oh, the saxophone player from E Street Band.
Oh, Clarence Clemens.
Yeah, Clarence Clemens is from VA Beach.
Who's from Virginia Beach?
Yeah, that was what that whole show was about that we went to.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, he's from Norfolk. Yeah, he's from Hampton Roads.
Yeah, or Norfolk, but yeah.
Yeah, yep. If I ever move back to Virginia, I'll definitely be down at the beach.
Yeah, my dad's been living in Norfolk for a bit.
Oh, okay.
We've been going down there quite a bit. Have you seen Moonbase?
No.
It's great.
Is it a show?
It's a show, yeah. So it's on Showtime. It's with Tim Heidecker, Fred Armisen, John C. Reilly. and they play these astronauts that are getting ready to go to the moon, but they're like in the desert and they're training, and it's like a comedy show. It's pretty great, and I think A24 produced it, and I
Okay.
feel like they did that because they're trying to make it like it's like a series, but it's like a one season type of series that's kind of its own, you know.
Like a mini series.
Yeah, it's like a movie pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
but it is definitely worth watching.
You're giving me a lot of things to check out today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another big one that I really liked from last year was called Zola.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, did you see that one? It's pretty good. So it's a true story about this woman who basically got coerced into, she was a stripper, but she got coerced into doing, like, they tried to get her to do sex work in Florida, and she was tweeting out all this as it was going on. So it was like a story that was made on Twitter, basically.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it's pretty cool. It's got some good performances. Um, the dude from Succession is in it. The guy who plays
Okay.
Greg.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. It's a lot, but it's very, very interesting the way
Yeah.
it's made.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I really like about a lot of A24 movies is that they're short, which
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah.
There's no like, well, a few of them that there's a few on this list that go into, well, there's maybe one movie that has a sequel. So they have a sequel of it. But yeah, for the most part, they're all pretty short, pretty
Mm,
succinct. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're not epic in scope,
right.
um, but there's certainly like, they're short, they're quick, and they're very like, have very pointed artistic choices.
Yes. Like for instance, like I love Denis Villeneuve. I
Which one?
think he's I think he's awesome.
Wait, who?
Uh, Denis Villeneuve.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's how you say his name, Villeneuve?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But you know, Dune and Blade Runner 2049
They're
are
long.
long. They're you make a day of watching them.
Yeah, you
But
gotta go drink a soda and eat your lunch and come back and finish it.
yeah, I could use an intermission for goodness sake.
Yeah, that's true. I
But
think Dune could have had an intermission.
yeah.
It was like one of the, because it was very had the Lawrence of Arabia thing going on with it anyway. So
Hmm.
put it on
Like
there.
I mean, goodness, imagine if you made the whole book. That
Yeah,
would've been- yeah,
3 or 4 intermissions.
exactly. Yeah, but to
There's
that
no
point,
intermission then because they wouldn't be in the middle, I guess.
he made a movie back in 2013 called Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. That was
Right.
that was that might be my favorite of his movies.
Really?
Actually.
I just
Yeah,
saw. I've always kind of been kind of like I like him, but I guess I'm not crazy about him. I like Sicario probably the best of
that's a
his
good
stuff.
one.
I did just see what's the one with Jake Gyllenhaal and
Prisoners.
Prisoners. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only one I haven't seen, but I've heard it's fantastic.
Yeah. It is fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Hmm.
Very good.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's a good actor. He's a talent.
It's Enemy A24.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I always called him Dennis Villeneuve, but it's because I prefer Spanish to French.
Yeah.
I go into Spanish whenever I read French.
Right. Right. Yeah, but it's NEU instead of NUE in his last name.
Oh,
Yeah.
say it again, Villeneuve.
I you're not gonna get me to say it again. I'm not.
I'm gonna keep saying it like in Spanish.
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Are you excited for Dune 2?
Yeah. Yeah. I I'm a big Timothy Chalamet fan.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big Zendaya fan.
Hmm.
So I'm excited about their journey together.
Hmm.
I have no idea where it's going to go.
If you could see an A24, like the next A24 movie would be, like, what's the movie that you would want that you would request? What's your dream A24 movie?
What do you mean by that? Like if I had to like put one in right now to watch?
No, like if you're gonna make one, like if you were gonna be like, I'm gonna request a movie from A24, what would it be?
That's a good question. I would love to see what A24 could do with like a biopic.
Yeah,
Like like it would be really cool because I'm looking through the filmography and that's something that's not really on their filmography right now.
that's
But like
true.
I don't know, it's like see like a movie about like Hemingway or something from
Mm,
like from like A24 with like being directed by Robert Eggers
yeah,
would be rad.
it'd be, it'd be like a biopic of someone by the Safdie brothers. Who would it be? What would they make a Who would they make a biopic of?
Probably like a businessman.
Oh yeah,
Like
like I could see them doing like uh maybe yeah a businessman or like maybe a Fox commentator or something.
right, yeah. Yeah. I
Something
could see them making like a Wolf of Wall Street kind of movie, but in a completely different style than the way that Martin Scorsese made it.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
More like shaky cam.
A lot more dirty.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, that's it's a pretty good amount. There's so many others that we could talk about that are Oscar films or um, art house films. Macbeth, certainly. Minari, The Souvenir, movies. Um, yeah, is there anything in closing we want to talk about A24?
I would just say in closing, check out the movies. You can go on Wikipedia and see a list of the movies that they've made, and
Mm,
also just the director and kind of a very brief synopsis of the movie. And if one of those sounds appealing to you, go check it out, go rent it, and see what you think, and then just kind of go down the rabbit hole from there.
mm. Yeah, for sure. Like most of their films they make are pretty good, high quality indie films.
Hmm.
I'll say dive right in there,
Yeah.
understand them, know them, watch them.
Yep.
All right, I think that concludes our uh this episode of Movie Mood.
Yeah. We'll be back one day to talk
Um, yeah, I've been Alex Van Horn,
John Alberta.
and we are the laziest film nerds on the internet.